That's VRAinsider.com. All right, Jim Pfaff is with us, president of the Conservative Caucus. His website is theconservativecaucus.org, theconservativecaucus.org. Jim Pfaff, welcome to the Wayne Allyn Root Show. Or I should say welcome back to Wayne Allyn Root Show. Happy New Year.
And to you too. Good to see you.
Yeah, first time I've had you in the new year, so that's why I'm giving you that greeting. The anti-ICE protests and clashes in Minneapolis, what are you seeing, and what do you think the real answer is to get things under control?
Well, first of all, is to be persistent and consistent in calling out Democrats for the fact that they are building a chaos industrial complex in this country designed to overthrow the American Constitution. I don't know how to put this any other way, particularly when you're seeing what you're seeing in Minnesota, which is a specifically designed effort by Tim Walz and Jacob Fry to stir up violence, literally violence and chaos. They're doing nothing to stop that. Even if they disagree with Donald Trump on the policy and do so on a rational basis, to allow what's happening is absurd and not appropriate. And for Donald Trump to consider on the back end of this, the fact that he might use the Insurrection Act to bring in the military to try to calm things down, first of all, it's not without precedent. Secondly, it probably is very useful at this time because Democrats are purposefully trying to harm American citizens, their own citizens, even by calling their neighbors these, in many cases, very violent illegal alien criminals.
Yeah, look, I think we're headed down the path to civil war. I really do. And I'm not a radical guy. I'm a very moderate guy. I'm a very reasonable guy. I'm someone who voted for Trump specifically to just create a great economy. That's the main reason. I mean, close the border and secure the border and get us a great economy, end the scourge of inflation and get the GDP exploding. And he's got inflation under control, not the underlying prices yet. That's where people make a mistake, Jim. Prices are where they are because of Joe Biden. If it was $1 and now under Trump 2.0, it's $3. That's because for the 4 years of Biden, the price went from $1 to $3. Trump has no magic wand to make the $3 go back to $1. He just can make sure the $3 doesn't go to $4, $5, and $6. So he's got the rate of inflation increase under control. He doesn't have the prices yet down, but he's doing a good job. And we got GDP, which is the only measurement of economic growth. The Fed now says it's going to be 5.4% in the fourth quarter of last year. So this year could be 5 for the year, could be 6 for the year. We've got an exploding economy. Trump has done it. Despite all of that, I believe Democrats are so, maybe not despite it, maybe because of it, Democrats are so angry that Trump is doing well and that people will make money and that he'll make America prosperous again, that they're going to push for a civil war. I think this is heading for revolution in the streets and what it amounts to civil war. While the economy's doing great and you and I are making money in our stock accounts, these idiots want to burn the nation down.
That's exactly their plan. Now, whether it gets fully to something along the Civil War lines like what we saw in the 19th century in this country, I don't know, and we're going to watch what that happens. But the fundamental point you're making is absolutely correct. This is a chaos industrial complex designed to increase these urgent problems, or what they create as urgent problems that have nothing to do with what the American people think or believe about what Donald Trump's doing, those that support him or not. It has everything to do with pushing things to a political crisis point where they think that they can maintain power. Listen, we took the censorship industrial complex away from them, at least to this point.
Temporarily, temporarily.
And this is part of the problem you're seeing in the streets. Donald Trump's administration is working on taking away the funding mechanisms, particularly NGOs, that allow for particular political activity. As we found out from the LA riots last year, not only do you have an American living in communist China, Neville Singham, giving money to the organizations that create this chaos, including what's happening right now, but that money was coming not just from DHS under Joe Biden, but also tens of millions of dollars from the state of California and local organizations to fund those organizations. This NGO thing's really important. The Somalia fraud is really important because this is taking taxpayer money and putting it into the hands of Democrat-aligned organizations to undertake political activities. It's not
Correct.
to help the community or train people, this or that.
And Jim?
It is entirely about chaos, and I agree with you. If they could do civil war and gain what they want, they would do that. I don't know if they precisely want to do that, but I do know that they absolutely would if they felt they needed to.
I think they want to do it. It's just a question of whether it'll be all-out civil war or whether it'll be like the summer of 2020 with riots and burning down and taking over major cities. As I pointed out in my show before you came on, they did that in 2020 in advance of the 2020 presidential election. I think they'll do it this spring and summer and this fall in advance of the 2026 midterms. They want to create chaos, as you say, and crisis and intimidate voters and literally keep people on edge and try and, foment revolution of some kind, whether it leads to all-out civil war or not, or just a mild version, more like the 2020 summer. That's the question. Who knows? By the way, one thing you left out, you said all this money that comes from USAID, all this money that comes from aid programs for Somalians in Minnesota, it all goes to the Democrat Party. Well, a lot of it goes to the Democrat Party. Some of it goes to terrorist organizations in Somalia. Don't forget that. And I'm sure terrorist organizations in the Middle East get plenty of money too. So, and then they kick it back to the Democrats, right? In small donation, small amounts under $200. So you don't have to report what your income is or what your form of employment is. That's how Democrats stay in power. So maybe that's why they want civil war, Jim, because Trump is taking away their funding and Trump's trying to take away their ability to steal elections. Maybe they need civil war because if they can't have power and they're going to be out of power for years, they'd rather burn the country down.
Well, and they're doing what they're doing right now in Minnesota with going after ICE. And, you've had a couple shootings related to ICE agents that, quite frankly, were, though sad, in the normal course of being a police officer, when you have the kind of violence coming at you, these sorts of things can take place, and they're in their legal right to determine what to do. But the reason that they are focusing on the ICE issue there right now is because the fraud is so great. They've been caught. It's documented now what Nick Shirley and many other people on the ground, even my friend Nick Sorter and our national field rep, yes, Chad Caton, they've all been out documenting this. It is without dispute. It's not just in Minnesota. It's all over the country. They do not want you to know about that because that will take away their gravy train as the American people process that. So chaos is designed to keep you from seeing their illegalities. But this is the way Democrats operate. They have no agenda for America that brings about anything positive. I mean, if it were a liberal agenda of the sort that the Kennedy family were about, okay, well, then we would just be, talking about what's the best way to put the English on the ball as we're playing on the pool table in the United States. They're not about that. They are about something else, and it's what I would term a mostly peaceful overthrow of the American government.
Well, you coined it as the industrial chaos complex, and I would say that as part of that chaos, they've factored in and they want what I call human shields. This woman in Minnesota was a human shield. If they can get people, protesters, to die at the hands of police or ICE or National Guard, they can create this empathy for the protesters, and they can create this communist color revolution, this civil war, whatever, this anarchy, whatever you want to call it, all based on this emotional feeling because women are being killed by men with masks. This is all part of a human shield, just like Hamas does in Gaza, and then they blame the Jews. It's the exact same strategy, the exact same mechanics, because they're all on the left. They're all the radical left. Hey, Jim, we got to run. Jim Pfaff, president of the Conservative Caucus, theconservativecaucus.org, theconservativecaucus.org. Always great to have you on. Let's hope this is a big year for the economy, and let's hope there is no civil war. I hope I'm wrong. Let's just make some money and be prosperous again.
Amen to that. Thank you for having me on, Wayne.
We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Wayne Allyn Root for Vertical Research Advisory, VRA, Kip Herridge's one-of-a-kind global investment and economic newsletter. Listen up. Trump is in charge. The glory days are here.
Growth rates are only going to grow from here.
This is your 4-year window to make a fortune and set up your retirement for the rest of your life. KIPP wins whether the markets are up or down, whether the economy is up or down.
We set our folks up for long-term success.
For 21 years, KIPP's been a friend, as well as my personal financial advisor. During that time, he's beaten the markets 86% of the time, while the average Wall Street money manager loses to the market 90% of the time. Now KIPP is predicting a new golden age for the economy. Let KIPP prove it to you for free. KIPP's offering his daily VRA investment letter completely free for 2 weeks. Free for 2 weeks. Try it for 2 weeks. I know you'll stay for life. Join now at VRAinsider.com. Wayne Allyn Root, President Trump wants to make America the energy capital of the world, make America energy independent again. Here is a project that could help accomplish that, or certainly go a long way to helping accomplish it. A project that could help accomplish that, or certainly go a long way to helping accomplish it. I'm so proud to introduce you to a real America hero of the energy industry, Mark Bruner, founder and CEO of Lost Soldier Oil and Gas. Mark is a second-generation oil and gas legend whose companies have created more than $15 billion in shareholder value, including Ultra Petroleum. But Lost Soldier could be bigger than Ultra Petroleum, with what could be the largest gas discovery in the United States in 100 years. It's 40,000 acres. It took them 40 years to piece it together in Wyoming. Mark, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you again, Wayne.
Tell us more about Lost Soldier. What have you got?
Well, I think we've got a really big gas field. I mean, in order to understand why it's just being done now, you got to understand the history. There was a uranium mine out here, and whenever there was a meltdown by 3 Mile Island, they started reclamating this mine and shut it down. 3 years ago, I got a call that basically asked me if I would drill it because they finally got the release and the reclamation was over, and they had permits to drill it. So we drilled it, and it's the biggest discovery that I've ever made, okay? It's basically deep overpressured gas. Starting at around 13,000 feet, it's like a layer cake. It's just zone after zone of overpressure is what it is. So we're very excited about it. The other great thing is that it's surrounded by infrastructure, legacy fields that are essentially run out, and billions of dollars of infrastructure is there for us to utilize, and we don't have to build it. We're building a 5-mile line to hook into that infrastructure, and we believe we can produce up to 400 million a day within 36 months to fill that line, and then we're going to build a bigger line. That's the plan, and yeah, we couldn't be more excited about what we have.
Hey, Mark, listen, I want to make sure people that contact you, if they're accredited investors and they want to hear more about the project, they want to get involved, they go to lostsoldier.com. Lostsoldier.com. Mark's got a whole team. Every one of them has 40-plus years of experience in the energy and oil business, and they will contact you, call you back, or email you back, and they'll get back to you as soon as they can. Lost Soldier Oil and Gas. You want to get involved, he's the man. right, Wayne Allyn Root. Sometimes you just have to go after evil. You just have to, right? I mean, you just must go after evil. And I heard that one of the things that was just shocking in Iran is that the mullahs, first of all, they think they're speaking for God, right? Anytime someone thinks they're speaking for God, you got to send them to hell. You got to bomb them to hell. And they issued a ruling, okay, as if they're God, a new like religious ruling, that any woman who is caught out protesting should be gang raped before you execute her. This is what you're dealing with. This is what this is what Israel has tried to tell us. It's so amazing. It's like as if you lived in a neighborhood in New York, somewhere in America. I don't care, Tulsa, wherever it is, and your next door neighbor was a extreme religious Muslim nutjob terrorist, and they sat there with their prayer rugs, praying to Allah 12 times a day, and blaring the music all day long. Sounds like Tarzan. And threatened to murder and rape your family and raped your daughter and killed your daughter and said they're going to rape and murder your wife. And you tried to tell people, I have no choice. I have to go over there and kill them. And everybody around you was liberal, and they said, no, no, no. They're all nice people. They're wonderful. It's you that's bad. It's the Jews that are bad. Israel lives next door to these people. These people are insane. These people hate white people. They hate Jews. They hate Christians. They hate people who believe in freedom. They hate women. They hate anybody who wants to breathe free air, and they hate free speech. And they hate gays. They want to kill gays. And you're mad because Israel's out killing them? I mean, it's just so absurd. And today I saw there were some liberal politicians finally fighting back. There's a few liberal politicians who admitted that they were under such pressure to say Israel committed genocide that they would lose all their funding, all their donors if they didn't say it. The media kept hounding them. Don't you believe that Israel's committing genocide? And if they didn't say it, they felt like they'd lose their careers. But they don't believe Israel's committing genocide. It's so ridiculous. I watched a World War II documentary a couple days ago in the gym. You know, I work out every day, and when you work out, you got to watch something that keeps you from thinking about the pain of working out, right? So I watch good movies, I watch good documentaries, good TV shows, and I watched probably like the fifth one I've watched this in the last year about World War II. All of them showed me the same thing. That part of war is that lots and lots of civilians get killed. It's just the way it goes. Even the good guys, America, they were saying that when America invaded Normandy, the battle that finally really decided World War II, certainly the Nazi area of World War II, Nazi region, because we were fighting, of course, in the Pacific with the Japanese as well. But that finally won the European theater was the invasion of Normandy. But nobody talks about the part of the invasion of Normandy. Once we were on the beach, we were kind of stuck on the beach. We made no movement for about a month. The Germans were fighting back. They owned all the little towns and cities around there in the Normandy area. So what did the Allies do? We bombed them all. We killed, I think they said between 20 and 30,000 French citizens. We killed them all because the only way to get to the Nazis was to kill all the French citizens. We didn't think anything of it. You have to do it. And the French were like in shock because they thought we had invaded to free them and save them. And they kept saying, I thought you were trying to free us and save us, but you killed us. Why did you have to kill us? There was no other way to do it. We had to bomb the French villages. The United States purposely killed 20, 30,000 French civilians, women and children, in order to get to their Nazi captors. That's called war. So you're mad because the Jews in Israel kill all these bad people, these horrible Nazis. That's what Hamas is, Nazis. And you're blaming Jews after the Nazis came in and literally cut the heads off of women after they gang raped them and shot them in the back of the head after they gang raped them and cut babies' heads off and put a baby in a microwave. You're mad that Israel went after the bad guys, and to get to them, they had to kill lots of civilians because that's who's in the way. Because on purpose, Hamas makes sure, just like the Nazis did, they are in the middle of civilian areas. Don't you understand that? How can anyone? Collateral damage, that's called war. We dropped a bomb purposely on Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan. We didn't bomb military, we bombed civilians. We killed hundreds of thousands of people in order to end the war, which saved millions of eventual American lives. Literally, the experts predicted if we landed on Japan, there would have been over 1 million American military killed and injured. And guess who one of them would have been? My dad, David Root. So my dad lived because we bombed civilians in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Well, I'm all for it. Do whatever you have to make sure my dad lives, to make sure Americans live. You kill the enemy. And if the enemy includes civilians, that's the way it goes. Nobody understands the real world, or just they do understand it very clearly, and they know this is what is called war, but they always want to condemn the Jews. Always condemn the Jews, go after the Jews. And Israel is treated differently than America when they fight wars, the same way America fights wars. Crazy story that in the Republican Party, there's people who don't like Israel, and there's people that don't like Jews, and there's people who want to pull out of helping Israel, our only friend in the Middle East, that's fighting our battle. If it isn't fought there, it's going to come here. Religious, crazy, extreme, radical Islam. Israel's fighting it for us. It's called being a friend. Energize Health, the sponsor of this show. Changed my life. Got 4 new TV shows and podcasts past the age of 61. Now going to be 65 and on Medicare this year. And I look the best I have. Far better than 15 years ago when I was 50 years old. Amazing. They are my fountain of youth. They reversed aged me. You can have the same program, and I hope the same results. Just go to energizehealth.com, type in war or say war, and you get 40% off. Energizehealth.com. Have a great night. See you tomorrow, same time, same place.